It is 4:02, and we will go ahead and call this special meeting to order. It's meeting for October 12th, 2020, and it is 4:02 p.m. Ms. McClure, can you call the roll, please?
Mayor Bill Hastings.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chris Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Janet Court.
Here.
Councilmember Duran Dowdle.
Here.
Councilmember Jennifer Jordan Stockdick.
Here.
And I show Councilmember Frank Carroll absent at this time. I will note when he joins the meeting.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Tonight, I'd like to welcome Senior Pastor Dr. Richard White with First United Methodist Church here in Katy, and he will lead us in our invocation, followed by Captain Brian Wojtek with the Katy Police Department, who will lead us in the pledge to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag. Pastor White.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we are grateful for the community in which you have blessed us to live. We are grateful for these leaders that give of their time and their service, that are men and women of integrity. And so I ask that you would continue to guide and direct them, that they may help this city in its growth and its ability to have such a great community in which for all of us to live. I ask that you would also continue to guide and direct them in all that they do, that what they their work would be pleasing in your sight. For all of this we pray in Christ's holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. White, and thank you for all that you do and all that your church does for this community. Captain Wojtek.
Your microphone is distorted. It's still distorted.
Councilman Harris, would you go ahead and lead us in the pledge to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Chris. We will move on to item number 3, which is public comments. And I'd like to remind the audience that you have 3 minutes to speak on any item that is not on the agenda. Anyone that wishes to participate via teleconference, if you'd like to speak, please press *9 to raise your hand. If you do wish to speak, please state your name and your address.
Seeing none at this time, Mayor.
All right, we will go ahead and move on to item number 4, which is comments from the public on any item on the agenda. Anyone wishing to participate via teleconference, if you'd like to speak, please press *9 to raise your hand. And once again, I'll remind you to please give your name and your address.
Seeing none at this time, Mayor.
Okay, then we will move on to item number 5. Item number 5 is a project design and construction update from Keep Katy Beautiful on the 2018 Governor's Community Achievement Award. And this is in reference to multiple locations on Highway US 90 that people are seeing every day go on.
Hi, everybody. Let me just pull up my presentation real quick. Okay, so I am Jess Washburn. I'm the affiliate coordinator for Keep Katy Beautiful, and I also serve as the marketing and tourism assistant for the city of Katy. I'm excited to come today and talk to you guys. I know we've talked about this project in the past because it's something that we actually won. We were awarded the award, the Governor's Community Achievement Award, in 2018. And the reason why I'm coming now to council is because that's how long it takes for the process to go through our design and then go through TxDOT. They also help with the design, and we work closely together with the city. And then it has to go to get approved because TxDOT has very strict requirements. And then once everyone's in agreement, then it goes to bid and all of that good stuff. So now we're actually starting the project. So I just wanted to give y'all a little update. Before I do that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the actual award that we won. So each year, Keep Katy Beautiful applies for the Governor's Community Achievement Award, which is through Keep Texas Beautiful. They partner with TxDOT. And I apply even on years that were not eligible, just to keep up all the information. And it's part of the requirement through Keep Texas Beautiful that we do that. But basically each year, TxDOT gives away $2 million to 10 communities throughout the state. And these are the subjects that we talk about: community leadership and coordination, public awareness and outreach, environmental education, beautification, community improvement, litter prevention and cleanup, solid waste management, and litter law and illegal dumping. So even though Keep Katy Beautiful is the one that does the grant application, it's not just about what Keep Katy Beautiful does. It's about what our community does. So we include all the efforts from the Parks Department that they do with their cleanup in the parks and their trimming trees and keeping the landscape beautiful. We also include everything from Public Works when they have illegal dumping or they have sign ordinances that are being violated. We do all of that. So it's really a community effort. We even include numbers from Katy Christian Ministries and the school district. So it's really an award for all of Katy, what everyone does. So it's a great achievement. So some background, we've actually won this award 5 times. In 2000 is when the landscaping on 1463 happened, all the way from I-10 to Highway 90. In 2007 is when the landing was installed, which is at the corner of Katy Mills Boulevard and Highway 90. It's pictured here. I think it's probably one of our more iconic locations. And then the 2 following projects were in 2010 and 2013, and they mirror the landing at Katy Fort Bend Road and I-10, and then Pin Oak and I-10. And so in doing so, when we talked to TxDOT, the project has to be on TxDOT right away. And so when talking to them, there's not actually a lot of locations that we could have used along I-10. And so we looked at doing Highway 90. So currently, this is what Highway 90 looks now between Avenue A and B. We do have a beautiful landscaped area that's been landscaped by Dooney Thompson, Albert Thompson. We affectionately call him Dooney. His company upkeeps that and does a great job. But right now, other than that, it's kind of bare. And so we wanted to focus our efforts in the grant money that we were awarded in downtown. So this is the kind of overview project between, and it says Avenue C, but that's really Avenue B. So it'll be between, the main location is between Avenue A and Avenue B. We are going to keep the ornamental sign or the monument sign kind of in the same location. It won't be exact, but it will be in the area. There will be lots of landscaping. We even have some river rock that will be put in, some concrete pads for more of a decorative addition. And then on this side, it'll look very similar, but this side is where we'll see geese. They are going to do, these are paved corners, which y'all have probably seen them already. That's the first step of the project. And those are pretty much complete. There's a little bit that they still need to do. But this is basically, this is the street level view. So we are doing a new monument sign that we're really excited about. This is basically what it will look like. We're going to match the rock base to the rock that's been used at the boardwalk so that it'll be very cohesive and a consistent look throughout Katy. The signs, I'm sure y'all have seen the Welcome to Katy signs that were just installed. They also have the rice emblem on them and are also this similar color. So we're really wanting to keep a consistency throughout Katy with our signage. So this photo shows more geese than we actually have. We'll only be doing 3 geese sculptures, and that's because we are using the geese that were removed from Pin Oak. If y'all remember when there were those 2 vehicle accidents a couple of years ago, we decided that it was unsafe for those geese to stay in that location on the ground because that could happen again. And so they've been stored at the location that Ed Hayes creates his sculptures. He's been storing them for us, and TxDOT agreed that we could move them to another location as long as it was also on TxDOT right away, since they technically paid for them through a previous grant. So we'll only have 3, but they will be in the air. And I'm really excited to see how Ed does those. That'll be fantastic. We're going to be planting more crepe myrtles and a few live oaks. And then really all of the flowers. The original proposal was for a lot of what I call ornamental flowers. And we were worried about them being water resistant and also having to be changed out frequently, which would be a cost to the city every time we had to do a color change like we do now at some locations, which we might have to, but not at the scale that they were proposing. So we asked them to choose more native grasses and wildflowers that would be definitely more drought resistant and water wise. So you'll see things like what I've listed here, the feather reed grass, the Indian hawthorn, purple cone flowers, black-eyed Susan, the brake-like yuccas, and lantana will all be. So it'll be beautiful, but it will be definitely more native. And I think weather resistant was kind of important to us. So they're going to, it will be graded a little bit differently. So they are going to come in. I don't know if y'all have driven by there recently. There's probably like 100 little flags out there. They're marking where all the irrigation is going to go because they're redoing the irrigation for both of these locations. So they are going to be regrading it. And there's an existing drain, sorry, that they're going to take into account so that everything will drain off well. So additional, that portion is between A and B, and that's really the biggest part of the project. We had a $180,000 budget, but Dana Cote is who we've worked with at TxDOT, and he's actually who has done all of the other projects. So he has a great relationship with Keep Katy Beautiful, and you should have been in those meetings with Kay Calendar. She can negotiate. She wants to stretch that prize as much as she can and get the city as much bang for our buck, I guess you could say. So additionally, what they're going to do is the existing site that we have at Katy Fort Bend Road, they have bronze letters on one side that say Katy, but you cannot see them from the other side if you were like on the feeder road. So they're going to match that on the other side so you can see it from all directions. Additionally, originally it wasn't in the plan to do the pavers on the corners, but we felt like that was really important because y'all know those corners can kind of become eroded, especially with wear and tear. So we thought that this would help with that, hopefully. And they're matching that color of pavers to the pavers we have at 1463. And then they will do some landscaping, as you can see here. They'll be putting in some drift roses and some flowers around here so that it's not just pavers and then grass. It will be somewhat landscaped. They're doing that at Avenue A and B. I don't believe they're doing landscaping at Avenue D, but they did put the pavers into that portion. And then we also wanted to follow the trees that are planted at 1463 almost to the Cane Island Bridge. But you'll know that they don't continue all the way to Avenue D. So they are going to plant about 12 live oaks from Avenue D to the Cane Island Bridge so that it'll continue that line. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it. It will be about a 100-day project, and the dates already started. They started on October 2nd, so we're already a couple days into it. So hopefully we're looking at the end of January, beginning of February for a completion. This project's a part of a much larger project. There's about 4 or 5 other projects going on along Highway 90. And so I'm not sure exactly if they'll do ours from the beginning or they'll save it to the end. That kind of is up in the air. Anyone have any questions?
I just want to say it looks great. It's super exciting. Cannot wait for it to be completed.
Thank you. Me too. It's been a long time coming.
And congratulations.
I was
on
gonna say
getting
the
that
same thing.
award.
It's exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Y'all have done a wonderful job.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
If nobody else has any questions for her, we will move on to item number 6, which is discuss and consider creating a capital improvement project fund from approximately $2 million in reserve funds for capital improvement projects as approved by City Council, requested by Councilmember Court and Councilmember Dowell on October 5th of 2020.
Hey, Mayor, point of order. If two council members request an agenda item, that request must be made in writing and included in our packets. There was no written documentation to support the agenda item in our packets, so I believe this agenda item is out of order.
All right, Art?
Yeah, Mayor, on that, it's not whether or not there are 2 or not. It's any agenda item. All agenda items under our council rules should have backup information. If the council if it doesn't have that backup information, you can move it to the next one. But every agenda item, even though we have some that do not have the backup information, any one of you council people could also do the same thing on any one of the other items. But our rules require that there be backup information on an agenda item.
Even if it's just for discussion?
Yes, it doesn't say what it's for discussion. It says for any item or discussion, anything on that, you need to put what it's on there for, what's the reason for, and if any action will be taken.
So you need more than just an email requesting the agenda item?
Yes.
All right, I motion to suspend the rules.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Frank?
Motion to
He's
suspend the
making a
rules.
motion to suspend the rules. I don't believe that's going to be appropriate in that that's set by ordinance, Councilmember. And I don't think we're going to be able to suspend that rule that's set by ordinance. It's not a parliamentary rule. It's in our ordinances, and it's one of the rules that you guys adopted. You guys can always amend it because there's nothing special about it. It's just in your rules form on how to conduct your meetings.
Okay, so if I'm hearing correctly, we will move item number 6 to the next scheduled city council meeting.
The one thing that I would like to Mayor, to talk to the council about on this is that as we move forward, when you look at our agendas, on any one of these agendas, somebody could play gotcha. So I would ask if when y'all are doing it, you as council people, you get to decide how we operate the meetings. So if you have concerns and you have issues about the way that we handle the meetings, that the meetings move forward, I would ask if y'all get together and let's amend our rules so that we don't have a bunch of gotchas. Because the rules have been there for a long time. Different people got together and made those rules. So I would ask if y'all at some point get together as a council, look at those rules and determine if those are the rules that you guys want to operate under, so that we'll cut down on the number of gotchas that we have.
Okay, but I apologize, that's my fault. I thought all that was required was an email requesting it, and then we had a discussion on Friday, so we could have shared some documentation from that discussion. So, okay.
Okay, so we will move on to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Can we bring the agenda up?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8, consider a resolution. 8A is consider a resolution appointing directors to the Village at Katy Development District. These will be Bill Abbott, Dusty Field, and Ronnie Parent. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8B, consider a resolution designating representative and alternate, to the Houston Galveston Area Council for 2021 General Assembly. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8C.
Mayor, if I may, as I was looking, double checking on those rules, and there is a section in there that says the rules may be suspended. So what Councilmember Carroll had asked for, a suspension of the rules. The rule can be suspended with an affirmative vote of 3 council members.
Well, I never withdrew my motion, so I'll re-urge my motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same side.
No.
No.
Motion carries.
Good. Let's talk about item 6.
Okay, so this is something that's been discussed for a while with the city administrator and Andrew. I think it started with Duran a year or so ago. So the purpose of this is it's the first step for planning, long-term planning of capital improvement projects. So when we discussed it on Friday, we talked about moving a small portion of our excess reserves into this fund. And then that fund could be used for things like possibly doing the fire station rehab or additional projects that come up. But the biggest part of it is the planning of how to use those funds and coming up with a plan that goes 3 to 5 years out so we can do more long-term planning. So as I said, we discussed this on Friday with the city administrator and with Andrew, and we were all in agreement with going forward on this.
So I think it was Thursday. I think it was
You're right, Thursday.
I just want to make sure it was Thursday afternoon. And
Yes.
Andy and myself met with you and said that, you know, we could start this planning process in a capital improvement projects with an S, because we would probably have more than just the fire station. There could
Yes.
be other things that might have not made the budget that then could be maybe used in the capital projects, you know, improvement projects. Now, the other thing we talked about was, and this will have to come at a later date, is a capital reserve, the capital reserve fund. Okay, the capital reserve fund would then be set up at the end of this year for any department heads that would have any excess. Then we would have the capital reserve fund set up per department, and that would be more of an end of year type program. So it's starting it with the capital improvement projects, and then it goes to a capital reserve fund. So Andy, do you want to, because you kind of designed it to come up that way.
Yeah, I've worked with these types of funds in the past, and the capital improvement fund, the way it works is basically a wish list, and it's the definition of it is usually assets that are greater than $50,000. They exclude vehicles, and so every year we can look at this plan and see what else needs to be added to this list. And it seems like every year there's always an urgent item that needs to be purchased that usually trumps items that have already been on the list. And I've seen some items on that list for 10 years and we never get to it. So all these projects compete for the same amount of funds. So the $2 million that we're suggesting to go over into this fund is just basically seed money. We don't have an approved project yet, but it seems that the most urgent need right now is the fire station one. And once we get a bid, we reviewed the bid and we've accepted the bid, then we can include this in the budget and it's voted on by council. It would be a budgeted fund voted on by council, and whatever the remainder is that's left after we fix the fire station one will be available for other projects. And it's going to take time to build this. I've worked with one that's already been in existence, that I helped create one, and we brought in an engineering firm to develop this fund, and they charged us $175,000 just basically for a spreadsheet. I could have done that, but you know, finding the time to do that is a little difficult. But if you guys are patient, we can do that. And I think it's going to be a collaborative effort, not just only myself building it, but with the help of the engineer and all the directors and suggestions of council of what needs to be added to this project. I believe we can develop it and schedule some of these items out over the next 5-10 years, and continually add to this list each year of urgent projects.
To be clear, Andy, we're not spending any money tonight, right? We're creating another line on the budget, trying to remove capital projects away from the personnel and administrative expensive type budgets so that we don't have large variations in, say, the fire department budget when we spend $1.1 million to buy a fire truck.
Yes, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're not approving any projects tonight. I don't know when this became controversial. Apparently it's controversial now. I'm out of the loop, but we're creating a line item on the budget tonight, right?
It's a new budget. It's a fund with its own budget. And so we'll be taking some of the reserves, excess reserves, and moving it to this fund so that we can properly plan for capital items, large capital items.
So, and Andy, one more follow-up question. So when you say new budget, so like the police department has a budget, the fire department has a budget, but it's all within the city budget. There's not going to be a shadow budget, right?
That's all within the general fund budget. This will be a fund of itself.
Okay.
Now, the controversial part that I suspect is that, you know, it's not a feeding frenzy where you add money over there and everybody wants to spend it right away. What I caution in budgeting for this is don't budget all the money, because like I said, you know, next year, a very urgent item might pop up and we're going to wish that we didn't spend money on a project that we have already obligated ourselves to.
Which is where the long-term planning comes into effect.
Right, right.
And as any council person has projects that come up, they can be added to the list so that they can be based on priority. And as a group, we can rank those as to what priorities are. Just like the purchase of the property that we did earlier in the year. That would fall under the capital improvement project funding. It's not a money grab. It's not anything other than planning, preparing for the future to have money budgeted. It's the taxpayers' dollars. It's sitting out there doing nothing. If we prepare it properly, it'll be set in place to do work for the taxpayers and improve their city. Nothing other than that. It's long-range planning. We have $3.5 million, almost $4 million sitting there doing nothing. Our budget requires only $16 million in reserve based on the budget we have. That could change next year. But as it stands right now, we have excess money doing nothing. We should plan to use it properly for the citizens of Katy. It's not a money grab. That's the rumor that's out there. It's political season, so there you have it.
So every year that I've been on council, we've had some type of emergency popped up that hadn't really been planned for. And so it's trying to get ahead of these things that all of a sudden pop up and they're super urgent. Do you agree, Byron?
Yes, yes. So, yeah, this is a start. It gets it there. Because we always have something. I mean, we always have something that comes up. And you're still in a position that has $2 million that you're going to put towards capital improvement project. You've got $2 million of flexibility in case something else would come up that would allow council to be able to move in that direction also. Not necessarily capital. Capital is something you have to have an asset to, but something could come up that you would then have the flexibility of still having the $2 million in the reserve side.
So how'd you guys come up with $2 million?
That was Andy's number.
Yeah, we have an approximate $3.5 million in excess reserves right now. The $2 million is just seed money, and it's most likely enough to cover, hopefully it's more than enough to cover what we need to spend in Fire Station 1 and have some left over. But we will move, if you guys agree with this, we'll move $2 million to the fund, and we won't spend a penny of it until you all agree on the very first item that needs to be budgeted in this fund.
If I might interject, which I usually don't, but there seems to be a lot of confusion about how the money is going to be spent, what it's going to be spent for, and what time frame it's going to be spent, how is it going to be replaced. Would it be possible for us to have a workshop on this between now and next council meeting, and then bring it back at that time when maybe we all have a chance to sit down and everybody see exactly, you know, what's going to pertain to create this fund, how it's going to be used, how it's going to be reimbursed? Would that be possible?
I would love that.
Hank,
Brian,
Jamie?
that's up to you.
That's just a suggestion because I still hear a lot of confusion between people and what their ideas and how.
I think maybe a workshop would help, Mayor, just because we're gonna start with the capital improvement, you know, your capital improvement projects, and we're gonna move forward towards a capital reserve fund, okay?
I understand that. And, you know, years ago, I remember this being talked about at least 3 years ago. And at that time, they were talking about using excess from a department's budget, that they could take what their excess is that we give back to the general fund and set that aside to create a fund. And I'm kind of confused as to whether, is that what we're still going towards? And is this just an interim?
That's part of it. That is a piece of it. So since that's been talked about, we looked at an additional piece of that is that as the department save money, they build their own bank account basically that says that they if they don't spend money, they can have their own capital improvement fund for their department. So parks can have one, fire department can have one. It's a way for them to budget and not just part of SB2 brings this to light that says if we're working to eliminate debt, that means we should be saving money. And so in saving money, each department would have that, not have to come to council to ask for something that they've got a line item that says over the past 5 years, our department has saved $1 million. And so this way, each department works to save money, not just one or two. So if they're working towards their departments because they have long range plans, then it's a way for each and everybody to be part of the same process, not just have one department save money and other departments not, because everybody can have a different opinion of how they should spend their budget. The other part of that is we've had a lot of excess cash that just sits there and is not being put to use. And so that process is that let's plan for things that we know we can come up with, like the property we bought, or sidewalks that don't fall under any real, I've heard a lot of people talk about sidewalks. That could be put something in, and we could prioritize it along with the long range plans. Andy has the plan in place. I would suggest that after tonight, everyone schedule a time to meet with Andy and Byron so they can ask all the questions they need to and work these things out so that everybody has a clear understanding and they get it from the folks who have designed this process. Since Andy's already done it before, it's there to be viewed.
That's more or less what I'm talking about, Duran, but I'm just wanting it a more, however y'all choose to do it is your decision, but wouldn't it be easier if we could all, because one person's idea leads to another person's question.
Of course.
So why not have a workshop and put it on next council meeting after we've had a chance to all sit down and visit about it?
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Or after y'all have had a chance to visit about it.
I think it's a
that
good
way
idea.
everybody can get their questions lined up.
I think it's a good idea as well, Bill. And I view it a little bit differently than maybe Duran does. I think there's different components. But what I don't want to do is, for example, the police station. I don't want the police department having to make decisions about whether to repave their parking lot and then make a decision about whether or not they can staff the department or hire a new detective. I want the capital decisions and the personnel decisions to be different so that we can measure out personnel and raises and administrative costs, measure those out and say, okay, these are rising at 3%, 4% a year, and be able to project out staffing and not have these huge fluctuations when, for example, the fire station needs a renovation, or we have to buy a fire truck, or we have to repave the parking lot in the police department. Those things create fluctuations that don't lead to good forecasting. The parking lot, we're going to build a parking lot at the police department, and we're going to increase the number of spaces. We may do some resurfacing. We buy servers and things like that at the police department. those don't need to be in the regular police department budget. That's not fair when we're trying to say, can we hire another detective because we had to buy this server? The server should be separate. We should be budgeting it separate. And so that's how I view it, is separating these big ticket items out and saying, okay, you know, in 3 years, these servers are going to be a problem. We're going to have to spend $500,000. Let's get this on the list 3 years from now so that we know it's coming, as opposed to, oh, here we are. We got to spend $1.5 million to fix the fire department, you know, the fire station that's all messed up. So I think it's a good idea. What I'm going to do to ensure that this doesn't get tagged at the next meeting, I'm going to go ahead and tag this item to the next agenda, thereby removing the ability to tag it at the next meeting. And that will give us time to have this workshop in the interim.
I agree with you.
Sounds like a plan.
Can I say something before you tag it?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, fixing to.
I think it's a good idea. I know we've been working on this capital improvement plan for a long time, so I'm glad that we're getting it done, and I'm glad that we're all gonna get together and have a group decision exactly on what these projects look like in the future, because I mean, they're still, just like the fire station, it's still going to get funded out of reserve now. But I know that we've talked about having what this project list is and what it looks like, and you know, and what the mayor was saying about if a certain department saved money at the end of the year, that would go into their bank account for a future project. So I think those are all good ideas. I don't know how that looks on paper. I don't think any of us do at the moment. And so I think it's a good idea, and glad we're going to get it done.
It's really important to understand how all the pieces work together. We can't look at just one piece and just focus on that, because everything that Andy's talked about, it all works together along with developing the long range plan.
Well, I can't wait for all of us to get to see it. That'll be great.
Councilman Carroll, I have one question for you. Do you think that you guys are going to be able to pull all that together in 2 weeks?
I do. I think that there's some misinformation that's floating. It's apparent to me today that there's some misinformation. Maybe I'm the one that's misinformed. Maybe this is some cabal and some money grab that's trying to tie the hands of future generations. I don't know. I didn't think it is. I think that any council can come in and move budgetary items. They can cancel budgetary items. You know, I don't think really, I found out that as locked in as you think you are, 3 council members can unlock any door in the city. And so I didn't know that there was some sort of issue here, but plainly there is. So I think the first step is talking to Andy. He's very available. And so that will answer council member questions. That will help address constituent concerns. And then that will give us enough time next week to have a workshop to talk through any concerns that have come up. And so I do think 2 weeks is long enough. So I'm going to tag it. But of course, if 2 weeks is not long enough, we can always agree to table it at the next meeting. I'm removing the ability to tag it because of the gamesmanship that I saw here tonight. I can play games too. And so I'm going to remove the tag. And so I'm going to tag it as soon as everyone's done talking.
I do have one question. Do we want to have a joint public workshop, or are we going to do individual meetings with Byron and Andy?
It sounds like Bill's suggestion was a public workshop, and I think it's a great idea, and I see a lot of head nodding, but there's also a private component of talking to Andy to understand the ins and outs of this. So we talk to Andy first, understand the ins and outs, and then come together as a group to discuss any concerns, and then have it at the next council meeting. Because I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think that's what I heard here tonight.
And I agree with you 100% on that, Frank.
Agree.
I was under the impression that they wanted a separate standalone public workshop, but we'll let Becky and Art figure out all that.
It may be easier for y'all to talk with Andy one-on-one and get the basis of this thing. And like he said, he's done this before, so he's probably got some some ideas of how to get this off the ground and get it moving and keep it going. So I would say maybe y'all talk to Andy one-on-one before the workshop, and then it'll be a lot less confusing when everybody gets in there. We're not having to answer questions. We're just giving our thoughts and our opinions and finding a resolution.
If the discussion is tagged to the next agenda, can we have a workshop on it?
Yes, because that's just a separate meeting. So
Okay.
they call a meeting. They can call a meeting at any time. So it's a meeting in between the meeting from where it was tagged. So yes, they can do that.
Especially considering tagging is to get additional information.
The only thing we have to remember is that we used to could be able to have a work session and only the council could speak at it. Now, under the current state law, when you have the work session, you guys are the only ones who can talk, but the public gets to comment on it also. So that's just the only difference.
Sure.
And I don't really see this being an issue with the public. I think the public is fairly adept to y'all just making the decisions that you feel is best for them. I don't think a lot of people are going to weigh in on this as individuals. Maybe you're wrong.
Never know. Anybody else? All right, then I tag this to the next regular meeting.
All right. So Becky, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we were on item 8C. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. 8C, consider a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a street right-of-way license agreement with Lilac Bend LTD to construct an electrical crossing within the city limits, within or across city rights-of-way. And this is in reference to the Lilac Bend subdivision. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8D, consider a resolution approving an agreement with the state of Texas, TxDOT, for temporary closure of portions of state highway right-of-way, Katy Land Drive, for the annual Katy Independent School District FFA Parade, Saturday, February the 20th, 2021, between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion. We'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8E, consider a resolution enacting regulations for time, place, and size of all electioneering signs located at any city facility designated as a polling place. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have discussion. We haven't really talked about then when this would go into effect. So my recommendation would be that we put this in effect next year. Since early voting starts tomorrow, my recommendation is that we put this off to not go into effect until January of 2021. Because think about all the signs that everybody's probably already bought, different sizes, and they've already put them out, and early voting is less than 24 hours away. So that would just be my recommendation.
Okay, we have a.
Mayor, if I may, council member, one of the reasons which spurred this resolution before you today is that we got word that there are people that are planning to do huge signs that are 36 by 36 and those signs. So that's what is the impetus for it even coming to you today. And so if you guys are okay with that being the possibility, but that's the only reason why it's on the agenda now, because we were told that there were going to be people that were going to bring huge signs out there and place them on city property. And so I just wanted you to know the background behind why this ordinance is or this resolution is on.
And so this year, we're only talking about Katy Branch Library, City Hall, VFW.
Well, what about the large signs that are already out there?
They're not on city property.
Well, they're at the Katy Library right now.
No.
Absolutely.
Oh, they are.
They've been out there for a few days. So
Well,
that's kind of where my concern came in is
okay.
I don't know that you would actually get that stuff down, this afternoon, and early voting's at 7 o'clock in the morning. So
Just know that those signs can get larger.
Okay, we had a motion in the second. Where do we go, Art? Do we have to end this?
If the motion is withdrawn and then it just dies, or it can be then voted up or down. But if the motion is withdrawn and then it will just die, then you can make another motion to implement it next year.
Yeah. Could we make it maybe effective January 1, being that there's already signs out there? You already have people that have them out there.
You could amend the current motion. You could amend this motion to have a motion to make it effective January 1. Yes. And then it'd be effective January 1. And then you pass the general motion to approve the signs.
Okay. Well, I'll make the motion to amend it to make this ordinance effective January 1.
second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the amended motion? Say aye.
Aye.
This is, just to
All
be clear,
opposed,
this is,
same sign.
just to clarify, this is on the amendment, not the amended motion, but on the amendment itself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On the amendment itself. Yes.
Sorry, Bill.
Okay, and now we have a motion for the amended. Who's going to make that?
I'll make the motion to amend it.
Second.
Effective January 1.
Take the
So we have a
motion
motion.
to approve the amended item.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Now we vote on the amended motion, Mayor.
I thought that's what we just
I
voted
thought
on.
that's what we just did.
Just the amendment.
We voted.
We already did that.
We voted twice, Becky.
Yeah,
Okay,
we did.
I made the motion to amend and
I got
Jen
it.
seconded.
I
Okay.
make the,
And then we vote on the main motion.
Come on, guys, you're being hard on me.
We got it. We got
You
it.
know I get confused easy. All right, moving on to item 8F. Consider a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a proposal for limited architectural and mechanical electrical services with Blue Line TD LLC for design services for partial build out of the third floor at Katy City Hall. And this will be funded under the CARES Act. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 9, consider an ordinance creating the 2020-2021 Charter Review Commission, appointing commissioners and establishing the duties of said commission. Ms. McGrew, can you read the caption on this, please, ma'am?
An ordinance creating the 2020-2021 Charter Review Commission, appointing Joanne Tilton, Dan D. Burris, Otis M. Sadler, Sherry Booth, and J.W. Skip Connor as commissioners and establishing the duties of said commission as provided in the Katy Code of Ordinances.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Council members' reports. I'm going to go in order of my screen. Councilman Dowdle,
No report, Mayor.
Councilwoman Jennifer Stockdick.
Just want to remind everybody about early voting, that it starts tomorrow. It goes through October 30th, and the last 2 days, which are the 29th and the 30th, which are a Thursday and Friday. Early voting is for 24 hours around the clock. So just want to remind everybody. Thanks.
Okay, Councilwoman Court.
I want to thank our Tourism and Parks Department for all the work they did in trying to make the best out of a awkward situation, I guess you could say, in promoting the Rice Festival. I think they did a great job. The concerts were awesome. The virtual shops were great. And so I just really want to tell them how much I appreciate their efforts in doing their best to keep this tradition alive. Katy Market Days is trying to kick off this Saturday. It'll be from 10 to 4. They are asking that they've done a scaled down version. They've separated the booths and the food trucks, and they're asking that everybody practice social distancing and bring your mask, because if you can't social distance, they will be asking you to wear your mask. So come out and support local. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Court. Councilman Carroll.
No report.
Councilman Harris.
Just want to echo what Janet said. Thanks for all the work for the tourism department. We really appreciate it with getting the virtual Rice Fest together, and also the downtown businesses coming up. Good luck with market days. I can't wait. So a lot of good things ahead, and don't forget to go vote. Thanks.
All right, my report. I'd like to, during all this COVID and all these Zoom meetings and team meetings and all the virtual stuff that we've been doing, Jacob Ramirez and Jess Washburn have been the ones behind the scenes that line all of this stuff up, make it happen. We've run into a few glitches, but let's be honest, they were our fault, not Jess's and Jacob's. So I'd like to just make sure that everybody knows that they're the ones behind the scene on this. And our other, guys with IT, they've done a wonderful job through this too, with helping facilitate the moving, and then the moving back, and then the moving again. So hats off to the IT department. Keep Katy beautiful. As always, y'all do a fantastic job. And I don't know where we would be. Well, I know where we could kind of be and what we could kind of look like if we didn't have you. You've done a great job with keeping this city very attractive. Only other thing is Rice Harvest Festivals. And guys, I know that it was not what it's always been, but you know what? We put it on. We haven't forgotten it. We'll never forget it. It's part of our heritage. And Casey and her team did an excellent job with what they had to work for. So with that, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And thank you for all attending. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. We will adjourn the meeting at 5:01 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.